What is good, everybody? This is your man Montezi, the Titan theme song king, and I'm here on the Bootleg Kev podcast. You dig me?
And you know what it is. This is AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland here on Bootleg Kev. Shout us out. Check us out. It's going to be crazy.
Hey, before we start the episode, we're going to remind everybody, man, we got one of the biggest radio shows in the country, syndicated in almost 100 cities, all over. Shout out to iHeartRadio. All right. Some of the latest cities that we've been able to add, man. Want to give a shout out to 93.9 The Beat in Honolulu. That's right. Hawaii. We over there going crazy. I also want to give a shout out Hot 98.3 in Tucson. Shout out to Tucson going crazy. Also want to give a shout out to Wild 94.1 in Tampa. Going crazy. We just got Richmond. We also just got the good folks in Bakersfield at Hot 104.7. So we're going crazy on the radio with my partner James Andre Jefferson Jr. for the Bootleg Kev Show. So make sure you tune in and you can listen anywhere on that iHeartRadio app. That's right. Let's get into the interview. Bootleg Kev Podcast. We got a special guest in here. Two of them. My guy Swerve Strickland, AEW legend, and Montezi, man.
Yes, sir.
Representing St. Pete.
St. Pete in the building.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what you know about Icy Sharks on Gandy?
Oh, man, that's right down there off when you right off 4th Street. And you take that right, yes, sir.
That's right by the track. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Anytime Fitness Gym right there. That's where I be.
They got some goddamn good
St. Pete's
conch fritters.
St. Pete's what birthed me in pro wrestling. Not pro wrestling, but it birthed me in music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he just bring me this, still does, Stylish ENT.
Oh, shit, fire.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. That's where we record at, man.
So you guys have the podcast together, right?
We have Swerve City podcast. I have Teasy's Table. Yes, sir.
How long have you, I mean, you're like, what, 80 episodes in or something like that?
Yeah, he's the stats guy on it. He's pretty good with it.
Yeah, we're over, if you add, like, the Swerve City podcast, and not including the stuff we did beforehand, it's around like 100 and something episodes now.
Oh, and then we had like 10 sold to the WWE Network at the time.
Oh shit.
So we had like Drew McIntyre when he was WWE champion on there. We had Rosenberg on there, Flatbush.
Are you the only super like active wrestler to have their own pod?
I don't think so. At that time, they had like Alexa Bliss's podcast was popping at the time too.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, that was like when it was on the network and all that stuff, and they were just trying to get content.
Yeah, they were just throwing original stuff.
Yeah.
Yo, that's like the golden era of the WWE. I missed the WWE Network because there was so much original.
Like Corey Graves was popping on there too. He was doing really well. Weekly stuff. The New Day had theirs, and they were doing really well.
Yeah, and then
so
shout out to I think is it the video game thing that
Up Down Down.
Yeah, Up Down Down.
Yeah, that's Pioneer
for sure.
Freaking Pioneer. Shout out Woods, man.
Are you got to be excited, man. You're in LA. You guys are doing the Crypto.com arena, the house Kobe built.
You know it. Never been in the building before. Actually, no, I'm lying. I was in there for a Wayne concert.
Okay, but never for a wrestling event. Never wrestled performed. There. Never got to. Yeah,
so
it's a big deal. Big. I heard it's selling really, really well too.
That's always a plus. That's always a great thing. Looking at this card, it should be like this is one of the ones like this should sell very well.
It feels like an all in. It's kind of massive in terms of just like the amount of like what could have like just main event after main event. It looks like
they're like, and that's the beauty of art. Like this Revolution is truly the showcase of what happens when you utilize this roster to the fullest potential and ability with like not only just in-house talent, like Kenny's finally on and just killing it, like Takeshita, Hangman, MJF, who 5 years of this company, 6 years now, they never interacted one time. So you got that, and then you got myself and Ricochet, two new guys that weren't here from the ground up, but came through, and we want to help with this product. Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, main event like Cope and freaking Moxley for the world title. With a lot of implications between just those two matches, and then you got the women, Toni Storm and Mariah May, what they built over the last 2 years is insane. The story they're telling with the character arcs, Momo Watanabe versus Mercedes, like she's killing with the TBS title, one of the biggest women wrestlers in the world, if not in history. Yeah. Then you have like the Hurt Syndicate defending against the Outrunners. So you got guys coming up from the tag division that just came out of nowhere, got hot, going against these powerhouse tag teams. So there's a lot of just there's a like I feel like any of these can just main event any Dynamite or any pay-per-view.
Right.
Every match.
For sure. You You, in my opinion, and I told you this before, like I follow AEW, but I follow it very, very, very like, online mostly.
Yeah.
Now that HBO Max is booming, it's a lot easier to
get it on the go.
The product, exactly. But I feel like you had like, if not the most, one of the most important title runs at AEW, because I just felt like, just perspective wise as a fan, like it just felt like it mattered at a level that like it was like I mean, and then obviously you and Bryan Danielson at Wembley Stadium having just a fucking insane match. For you, man, your approach to holding that belt, and like what did you learn from that reign? And obviously, this match with Ricochet is to be the number one contender to try to get it back. But what did you learn from your reign as champion? Because that was the first time you were like the face. I mean, you are one of the faces of the company.
Yeah.
Quite literally the face of the company when you're the title holder. But what did you learn from that time, man?
Making what you do matter in every sense, every promo, every time I'm doing a social media plug, every time I'm doing an interview, like off out of the ring and I'm on location, everything had to matter. Everything, like as far as like where that title's being seen had to matter. I had to put it on display. Whether it's in a music video with Bun B and West Side, they're holding it. It's on a freaking lowrider, freaking a lack, in the music video. I got to place it in like the news in Vegas to promote that. I need to be here. I need to be here. Nigel Sylvester, who signed a BMX rider who signed with Jordan, have him holding the belt. Yep. So it's just like everything had to matter. Everything had to have a place and a purpose and a point. So if I'm there, it means something. It matters. And for that to matter, I had to matter going into that. So everything that I've done before that, like all the matches, all the jump-ins, all the run-ins, all the like the story, all the promos, all that had to lead into that meaning something for that championship to matter. Then the matches had to deliver. And I felt like that was the best run of world title matches by any champion.
Dude, for sure.
And and that's hard. That's a hard bar to like go against with Kenny and Danielson going an hour, and Moxley and the Hangman, all those guys, Jericho holding the titles before that. It's like, and MJF going a year with it prior to that, that's a lot to live up to. So I'm like, I gotta be a powerhouse, like roundhouse, like just boom, right there to the mouth, right out the gates.
What was your level of did you have nerves getting into the program with Bryan? Because obviously he's one of the greatest of all time. I mean, at a certain point in time, he's an all-time babyface too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No nerves.
I mean, you guys put on a fucking master class, man.
If anything, I had to nerve him down because we're like, those shows can run long, and then we have that certain amount of time window at the end of the pay-per-view where we can like go off, and then like the cushion is like 2-minute window, and he was concerned about that, and I was like, I got you. I'll steer you where you need to be. And then that calmed him down because I was calm. Yeah, I always feel like that's my job, and that's like why I'm in the position I'm in. Because I always have like ice in my veins, cool, calm, collective. When I was tagging with Keith Lee, like I crack a joke and then our music would play, and then I go out and then he's laughing coming out right behind me. Because I'm like, I need him in that mode. When Keith Lee's feeling good, you feel it. The crowd feels it. You, as a viewer, you feel it. So every opponent, no matter who I'm with, I want Tony behind the desk to be like, oh, what you need? I'll get it done. Because I want him to feel like, oh, my performance feels good. I feel good. I need everybody feeling on the top, so I have to feel on top. With
some of the darker, I guess you're very good at being a heel, but not. I feel like kind of like an anti-hero heel, if you will. Where like I think back to like obviously early Stone Cold. Rock when he was with the Nation of Domination type shit, but like you really dug in, like especially with Bryan Danielson. Like I feel like that in terms of like some of the material that was discussed, You know what I mean? Do you guys talk about what's on or off limits, or does that take away from a natural reaction in the ring? Where if you snap on some shit that's maybe his family or something like that, is it something that you guys go over? Or
I respect him too much not to do that.
Like, hey, where's the line? Essentially,
I know.
Yeah,
I know where it is.
Yeah.
And if you're like a professional and like you're cognizant of that kind of shit, you know where not to go.
Right,
it's obvious.
Yeah,
and you know what you need. You know what material you need to get the emotion and reaction from them.
Yeah,
like I know that certain controversial things, like maybe in real life, that the audience is not going to know.
Of course.
Not everybody.
Right.
And I don't need people going online to dig it up to find the meaning behind it. I'd rather give you something that this is what we presented on camera. This is what you have to work with because that's canon. I don't want to give you off canon stuff where like, okay, our audience is 20% of wrestling. 3% of that's going to know what they're talking about. No, I want 20% of people to know what we're talking about here. And like, because that's where the investment, that's where everybody's invested. I'd rather go for the majority of people that know certain things than the
that makes sense.
Minority. For sure. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like in a performance in a rap verse, like putting like when you're performing, there's like
you want to do the hits.
Yeah, you want the hits, and like maybe like this little sly line right here is about like a dude that wrote something in a studio in a song, like who doesn't matter. Like it's like maybe certain people in the circle may know that,
right?
But like when you're performing in hits, you want that thing to boom, so everybody gets invested in that song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You've done a lot of stuff with celebrities.
Yeah.
Whether it's Ross, West Side Gun, Bun B. I want to know your take on the Travis Scott punch.
Oh man, that's wild. That's a very excited artist who finally got to do his dream. You know what I mean? It's like I'm in here, and you're in there with the two biggest icons that we have left in this.
Like a top 10 iconic moment in wrestling history.
With the two biggest icons that's ever done it.
For sure.
So, of course, you're excited, and you're with the world champion.
Right.
Of like, so this is the guy that's going to be the one for that era, for this era, and moving forward. So that's a lot of excitement. That's a lot of pressure. And that's what happens when you get excited with someone who's not in our industry. You know, it's an exciting moment. It's like, what the hell would we do if like
I think
you like, you know, like a wrestler got on the stage and they would do dumb shit too on the freaking, you know, on a concert, you know, but that's like not industry etiquette
for sure,
you know. So it's just a crossover things like he doesn't know, and I'm
because there's no way they win over that, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I don't believe so. And I feel like they wanted that so it could feel natural. Sometimes you want like just the natural reaction from other people outside of wrestling. You want them to just be natural, just flow and feel, because then it'll feel real. But sometimes that stuff happens and it's like, too far.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I don't know. I was like on that golf course with Travis not that long ago.
Right. You were telling me, yeah.
He didn't know that was coming. But he was telling me, he's like, I'm excited, man. I'm training with Booker T. Yo, this is going to be wild. Like he was more wanted to talk about wrestling than he wanted to talk about music. And that's usually how it is.
Yeah.
Like, so he was like excited. And I'm like, oh, cool. He's excited. I'm like, just make sure, you know, take care of yourself and others.
Do you feel like the heel turn? I saw a lot of people with the hyperbole is very high. Like, oh, this is bigger than Hogan. I don't think anything will ever be bigger than Hogan because it changed the direction.
Because we still talk about it,
right? Exactly, and like literally, like saved the company, started Monday Night Wars, NWA's born, like the biggest faction ever.
We can say that because we saw the ripple effects of it down 10,
and like,
20, 30 years.
Who knows what the ripple effects is?
Exactly,
but
we can't say that.
The memes coming out of it with the face.
It is. It's hilarious, but it's like, okay, how impactful is that it shakes the industry?
Right.
Like, does it I don't know if that changes what happens over here. Or I don't know if it like changes what happens over here.
I mean,
that's not
TBD,
what wrestling
right?
is anymore.
TBD, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. Like, we got to
I'm just glad it happened before he retired.
For sure.
Because we needed to see it.
Absolutely.
Don't you think? Like,
yeah,
I didn't care to see it, but I'm just glad.
Personally,
but
absolutely,
you know.
absolutely. I'm just interested to see where he takes it.
I'm so interested in what he's going to wear.
Yeah.
because he can't wear the colorful shit. He's got to, like, what's the fit going to look like?
What's the song going to be?
What's the song going to be? What's
Yeah.
the fit going to
Yeah.
be? Like, is it all black? Like, is like there's some MK Ultra shit going on? Because it almost looked like when The Rock looked at that fool, he almost had like some mind control. It was crazy. That was my favorite part. And then when Cody said, "Go fuck yourself,"
And if I'm him, I don't rap my own song either.
no,
I don't do it.
No, you can't. No. You've dealt with a lot of celebrities. Is there like, okay, for example, like Rick Ross?
Yeah.
Does Rick Ross know you're gonna swerve stomps like a fucking cinder block into someone's chest?
Oh yeah,
while he's standing there.
Oh yeah, he was excited about that.
So you're like, look, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's like, let's do it. It's nothing. It's easy. Too easy.
So you guys have like a little powwow backstage.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, hey, this was
Yeah.
like, was there ever? Because I feel like Ross is like in AEW, like like, was there ever any like real discussion, like maybe bringing him on as like a manager or something?
For sure. Yeah, it's just like him telling like you a big motherfucker kind of changed some things a little bit. It was like I don't know, and then like and Tony Khan has the mindset of like we'll revisit it, but he just keeps moving forward.
Right.
You know, he's always said like, yeah, we can revisit it. Let's talk about it. Like I like him. We can revisit it, but then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and then the company's going this way. It's like, oh, you know, I'll let you keep steering the ship.
I would love to see Method Man. So, Method Man
he's an imposing guy.
Jacked too.
too.
He's fucking jacked.
He's an
He's
imposing
jacked.
fella, man.
And he could be. I feel like Meth could snap on a mic.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like
he has a good voice for it.
for sure.
He has a great voice for TV, for radio, for music.
Yeah,
I think for like doing promos and stuff in the ring, it would translate. And you know why I think you have that? Because we've seen him on Def Jam Vendetta.
Of course.
So I think they
Great character on Def Jam Vendetta.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a great character on the game. So I think just subconsciously we're all like, oh, just take what he did in the game where he just boom, boom, boom does this. I'm like, that can like transfer right into wrestling. I think that game has also done that to a lot of like, I want to see so and so in the ring.
Oh, for sure.
Ring.
Oh,
I
for
want to
sure.
see this rapper. In
I
the
saw
ring. Fat Joe get in the ring.
somebody did a recreation of Vendetta, but it was like the Kendrick and Drake thing. It was
I
like
think I
that
seen
shit
something
was
like
funny
that.
as hell.
I would like to see like Def Jam and then like somebody like because you know all the games are on PC and stuff.
Right.
Let's mod them and put like current artists in that.
No, I even I guess
there's no way they're gonna license
Well, they're
it.
kind of doing that with, but it's not a fighting game. But with Fortnite, there's always
Oh, yeah.
you could be Snoop, you could be Weeknd, Travis.
Now I want them to mod like Def Jam
For
Vendetta.
sure.
And
Yeah.
like because like
They got to bring the game back.
They have to.
It's just no way it's going to happen. I've heard about. I've listened to like interviews about that, and there's
Yeah.
like it's just licensing with.
It's
Def Jam.
the problem is the licensing, and then like because Def Jam doesn't have as many artists as they still have all the old school guys like I'm sure they could use, but like in terms of the newer guys, it'd be a licensing fucking headache.
Yeah,
and
it
then
would be.
and then there's like this company and this company are like, oh, he can't make this rapper look weak in this,
Right.
and this, he can't beat him
For
down,
sure.
and she can't touch
It's
him.
too much
and-
ego.
Yeah, that's where it
way
gets into
too
that.
much. Way too much.
That's what I was hearing in the interviews.
You were at the Super Bowl
Yeah.
and you got to see Kendrick's halftime show.
Yes.
On TV, I was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was just losing my mind. I was at Fluffy. Shout out to Gabriel Iglesias. He has a Super Bowl party every
Oh
year.
wow.
It was
Shout
cool.
out to Fluffy, man.
X-Pac was there.
I ran into Tech 9.
Shout out to Tech.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was there.
Yeah, I
Shaq.
ran into him at the
Yeah.
thing. But I brought him on AEW on an episode of Rampage once. So
Yes.
I was like,
he
hey,
needs to do someone's theme song. A Tech 9 theme song?
incredibly. It would be so good.
Crazy.
It'd be so good.
But what were your like just being there, man? Like did it feel as cool? Like
It felt cool, but it was just like it was definitely a show and a performance for television.
for TV?
It's for-
Because I
'cause they-
thought that in
yeah.
my head, like if you're sitting up at the rafters, I'm not sure you're getting everything going on.
Yeah, like in certain angles and stuff,
Right.
especially if you're sitting on this side.
Right.
You're missing the X part when
Right.
you're at the X's and like peekaboo.
Right,
You're
right.
missing like
You're missing like everyone moving around.
yeah, it's a lot. It was so many moving parts. So if I was in like end zone corner.
Could you even catch Serena Williams crip walking?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Like, I
I
can
didn't
imagine
see-
that's like
yeah.
a little tidbit that for TV.
Because there's like 50 people over here making a formation, and then you have like, oh snap, there's a spotlight over here. Who was that? Oh, I missed it. It's gone. Okay, and then the people popping out of the truck, and I'm like, oh snap, they all came over. Okay, there's something forming over here. So it's like as a live audience, it's a lot to see. And like, but shout out to like the fact of like Kendrick being able to perform and move up and down the field 4 stages, all breath control. And his cadence is probably one of the hardest cadences to hit in rap.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Easily.
on beat and like on an earpiece.
I just like the fact
Steps.
that it was
Like going down steps is not easy.
Yeah, it was just the opposite I mean, that to me, that's what makes great artists.
Yeah, but it definitely was a performance for the masses because like 100 million people are watching.
But also, he did
and
do all the
home.
hits. He did album cuts. He started it off with a song that's not even out yet, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I'm glad
what?
he did it the way he did it too.
For sure.
That track list. I'm glad he did that track list the way he
Some
did.
people are arguing about the track list, but I'm like, you got All Right at the last Super Bowl. You got like
he already did those records with Dre.
Yeah, so it's like, and that was the big ones, because like everybody, I watched that back again recently. It's like everybody did their big like No More Drama and like Lose Yourself and in the club.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody hit their boom boom, their hits. So you got that. Like Kendrick just wanted to create a piece of art that was identifiable to him.
Right.
He didn't want to do other people's like shows, but that's what makes him him. That's what keeps him in his own world. He's bringing us into our world. And for people that do know him and that don't know him, you're being introduced into his world.
Right.
And it's succeeding. And for the people that do know him, we know why he's here. We know the song we want to hear. Right. So you get all of it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know why people say, no, he should have done this. He should have done this. How about just be invited into his world and just enjoy the ride?
That's the best part. He brought everyone into his world.
Exactly.
For sure.
That's why we listen to Kendrick albums.
Indeed.
What's his world?
Indeed.
That's the whole point. So obviously
you were at Super Bowl with Mercedes. I got to meet her with Snoop.
Yeah.
At Snoop's release party, and I was just like, he like introduced her like, oh, this. I was like,
oh, bow down. Yep. Yep.
Hey, what up? We got to stop the interview to tell you about the good folks at MyBookie. That's right, baby. MyBookie.ag. You already know. If you don't have an account, man, you can bet on anything, anywhere, at any time. And if you go there, sign up with the promotional code Bootleg right now, and they're going to get you hooked up with that 50% first deposit bonus. That's right. Whatever you put in, they're going to match that thing, all right? So that's what we're doing, man. NBA season is in full effect. You got spring training baseball. And the best part about, like, right now with the NBA, you got a lot of teams like my shitty-ass Suns trying to compete for that play-in. There's just a lot of things you can, man, look. Are we going to MVP? Are we going Giannis, Jokic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? I just fucked his name up. I called him Shane Gillis. It's Shea Gillis. I don't know this fucking guy's name now. Is it Shane Gillis? No, it's Shay. It's Shay. Anyway, with that being said, yo, you can gamble on anything. Plus, they got the full service casino, man. I've been on webcam with the blackjack dealers, getting it popping late at night. Look, use that promotional code Bootleg right now when you sign up at mybookie.ag. Of course, celebrating 10 years. I've been with them damn near 10 years, man, rocking with MyBookie. So make sure you sign up right now. Also, give me some Odd Socks, goddamn it. I want to shout out to our good folks over at Goddamn Odd Socks. Our family. Ooh, Lay's potato chip socks. What else do we got here? The Bob Rosses. Shout out to that. Looks like Ritz. We also have some of this. Anyway, if y'all don't know, man, Odd Socks are OG sponsor. They're our day ones. They're our family. They just had a birthday in December, celebrating 11 years. The craziest shit about Odd Socks is I've been fucking with them since they was like getting it out the mud in Tampa, Florida in like 2014. Fast forward, they're one of the biggest sock companies in the world. And we're hooking up all of our viewers with a dope deal with Odd Socks, the most comfortable socks in the world, the craziest licenses. Go to oddsocksofficial.com, use the promo code right now. It's Bootleg, and you'll save 20% off. Of course, the underwear's on deck. Shout out to the undies. We got all the undies. They got the slides now. They got belts. They got all kinds of crazy shit at Odd Socks, man. Oddsocksofficial.com, promo code Bootleg. Save 20% off at checkout. And by the way, if you screenshot me an Odd Socks order that you used with our promo code, throw me a pair of Bootleg Kev socks. Give me a pair. Give me a fucking pair over there. If you can screenshot an Odd Socks order and send it to me, the first 5 people that do that, I'm going to send you on the house a free pair of Bootleg Kev socks. Yeah, why not? Support my people. I support my people. You feel me? Let's get back to the interview. I know you guys are friends, and her coming to the company was such a big deal. She's obviously one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, let alone female wrestlers of all time,
and important too.
100%. What are the things you think, like, just adding her to the roster. It's been over a year now. You know, obviously she killed it in New Japan. What do you think it did for the company bringing somebody like that over?
It shows that this is a place to be. It shows, like, I feel like when we talk about competition in wrestling, the competition is the fact that we can get that talent and we can, like, also match the deals, and it's like it's an option. So when it comes to like that, that's where negotiation power, that's what makes Mercedes who she is, and that brings her stock
and
up
it brings
here.
Everyone else up.
And so it's like now it's for the talent now, where the talent can make that choice. We have the option. We can steer the ship and power and generate our value. And like Shannon Sharp said on Club Shay Shay, your value is what someone's willing to pay for you in 100%. Your service. So now it's like, okay, our value goes up. Like I don't know Sasha, but like Sasha Banks had value.
Of course.
Mercedes has more value now because of All Elite Wrestling existing. Same thing going the other way. Cody had more value because of what All Elite Wrestling was able to do and perpetuate.
100%.
Same with Punk. Same with Moxley coming to AEW. It's our values increasing, going back and forth. Ricky Starks to Saints, his value increased for them to draw that interest for him, and it's just only powering everybody's value to go up more. Right. So hopefully that increases the value of pro wrestling in general.
Right.
So everything goes up. And so I feel like Mercedes was the one that do that big for the women.
Right.
Now it makes Becky Lynch look like a little
like, oh, what can we do here? Yeah.
Or it makes New Day go I wonder, maybe. It makes Charlotte go, I wonder, maybe.
Right.
It makes all those top level people that you thought would never in a million years abandon ship or look for somewhere else to go.
There's a real viable
opens
option.
that door a little bit. That's where competition lies in this industry. So it did wonders for me too. It brought my value up to make history in Wembley and in Dynasty and
I mean, you signed a pretty crazy contract.
Yeah, it's
so
very
congrats.
lucrative.
Congrats!
Yeah. Thank you.
You're with them. I think I read till 2029 or something. Like you're locked in.
Yep. And there's nowhere else I would rather be.
No, I mean, you know what's funny?
I say that like a lot of people say that's like, oh, that's just a PR. He's supposed to say that shit. No, I mean that shit from the bottom of my heart. There's no other place I'd rather be. And do I have bad days and opposed to good days? Of course. Like this is a job. I have frustrations here and there, but I work through those frustrations better here than I did in other places anywhere else in the world.
Right.
Whether it be Lucha Underground, MLW, WWE, NXT, I've like found Tony Khan and me have always worked through frustrations, and I've
I feel like
voiced
he's
them.
let you cook too.
Yeah, but there's been times I'm like, we didn't cook as best as we could have been able to cook, and I'm someone, I'm not going to half-ass that. Was
there a match that you had that you were disappointed with, where you thought the expectations were super high, and you were like, man, like it wasn't what I hoped it had been?
Oh, for sure. I felt like the tag title match, dropping them to Acclaimed could have been better. And that was one of those moments I'm like, I'll never go through a match where I left something on the table. And I was like, no, everybody, I don't care who's involved, everybody put their shit
We're going to leave this shit.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll never, like,
you don't want to have that feeling again.
Yeah. I can't, like, y'all, whoever can be like happy having that feeling. Like, no, not when I'm in this.
Right.
And I have to, like, if I'm raising it, y'all got to raise the shit.
Right.
And and since then I haven't had anything. I was like, oh man, there could have been more.
For sure.
You know?
How scary is it to stab someone with some scissors on TV?
Oh, it's terrifying. I think everything we do is scary and terrifying.
I mean, you've done some crazy shit. Yeah. But it's like, you just... I always tell people...
For me to stab or be stabbed?
Well, both. But it's like, I saw you...
It's bad either way.
I saw you hit Ricochet with the scissors, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, you got to be a real fucking professional to pull that off.
You got to swing.
Right.
You can't...
right.
You have to swing that.
Right.
And like, it was one of those, I'm swinging through you, Trevor, because I have to get it back to him. And if you're giving something back to someone that got you,
right,
it has to be tenfold. It has to be bad. Shout out to Cody Rhodes and Travis Scott. It has to be bigger on the comeback, especially as the good guy, babyface. It has to come back tenfold. So with a prop involved, it's always sketchy. It's
a variable.
Yeah, that's why, like, me DVDing Hangman on the cinder block on our Texas Death, he had to go back full fold with a power bomb on it at the cage to bring that back around.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, there's not fake cinder blocks. People don't understand. Like, I saw you know Maven. He's got a YouTube channel right now.
Yeah,
I like his stuff. He was explaining like the thumbtack thing, and he's
I didn't even watch that one.
Oh, so he just like went through like these are the thumbtacks that wrestlers use, and he was like, and they were just real thumbtacks. He's like, no, they're real.
Yeah,
he's like, there's no like bullshit thumbtacks. Like,
yeah, and so it makes you think like. It makes you look back at like Orton going through that shit and his knees and Ric Flair having him in his elbow. That's really there.
Yeah, but the cinder block's gotta be
It's brutal. That's why I'm the only one that uses it. Like, I'm the only one stupid enough to actually do it. Yeah, and
did like when you first introduced this, like do you have to talk to Tony and say, hey, I know this might be
No, I told him, hey Tony, we're using cinder block. Okay.
That's dope.
If anything, I had Dustin Rhodes as like producer on it, and he was worried about the staples. He was like, can we just get that cleared? Can we just? I don't want to, And then I was like,
shout out to him. He just started his own. Didn't he just start a promotion?
Shout out to Dustin in general, man. Yeah. That he's been the guy behind a lot of my great matches.
Dope.
And he always he doesn't tell me what to do, but he suggests things and where they should go. And he always puts like a perspective on where I'm like, oh, now you got me really thinking. And then I'm like, how would you do it? And he's like, well, I would go this way with it. But he never tells me what to do. He never lets the performer, you don't tell the performer you don't tell the rapper how to rap.
Right. You just say, hey, this is my perspective.
This is my perspective.
Do what you want with
this is what, you guide them, which is what Montezi did with me, helping me learn how to make music. He always just guided me in the direction where he thought fit me the most. Instead of that's where and I'm glad I got that rather than I sound like this rapper, I sound like that guy. He's like, no, I'm letting you find your own voice. So
how long have you guys been hanging?
8 years.
And then you brought him into the music game.
Yes, I did. So you just know. You just know when somebody's got it.
Yeah.
Or when somebody you believe somebody can do it. It was just a random conversation. We was in Tennessee at a wrestle show. I was doing some commentating, and one day I just said to him, I said, bro, I believe you can rap, bro. And he's like, yeah. I was like, bro, I just see it.
Right.
You have the look of one. So if you go in the studio and you try this, then I think it could work out for you. But the way I was raised is like, look, man, you have to get a blank canvas a lot of times and just put art out there. When you get in the studio, get comfortable with your voice, get comfortable with what you're saying, find out who you are as an artist. And the main thing I told him, I said, man, I'm good, but I don't want you to sound like me.
Right.
Don't sound like me. Be your own person. Because a lot of times when people do try to mentor or try to do things, they kind of make the mistake of want them to be just like them. And it kind of doesn't work out because it's like, well, why are you having I already got you.
Right.
So I don't need to copy you. I said, man, be your own man. So when we made all these records together, I said, man, just put the blank canvas out there. You direct the records, and I can fill in because I know what I'm doing already. And when he started figuring out, each song got better, each project got better and better until he got comfortable with who he is. Now he's 5-6 years into his career. So I just seen the growth, but that was imperative. I said, look, man, be your own man, bro. Be your own man.
And truth be told, when I first started stepping in the booth in St. Pete with T, he was like, the booth is tiny, so it felt like a sarcophagus in there for me. Because I'm like, oh man, it's just me. I don't have TZ in here to help me be in my ear. You're tight in there
by yourself,
And it felt like it was like Daredevil getting into that freaking that chamber. I was like, I felt like kind of lost, and I was unsure of myself so much. It felt like the wrestling grind started back over again, all the way back to year one.
Right.
And so now I was like, okay, now I got to find that comfortability. The same way I find the comfortability in wrestling, I got to find it in music. And without him, I wouldn't have as quick as I did, because he was drilling me over and over and over again, pause, and just making sure
super pause. I just replayed that.
Yeah. So he's like, no, he made sure, and then he also put me on records with Mickey Fax and John Connor, and these are spitters.
Yeah.
And I had to go after these guys. I'm like, fuck, what do I where's the gear that I shift into? And he would guide me into that. Then I would challenge him with like Music Soul Child on the record, and then like so he had to step back into like spitter mode and go be vulnerable because I'm an R&B soul at heart.
Yep.
Like, and Music Soul Child is my favorite singer of all time.
Yo, he just recorded. He was just here 2 nights ago with Russell. They had like a 6-hour session right here in my A room. Yeah,
we recorded with him in Atlanta till like 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning.
We were
man.
like up. We're like, no, we're not tired. We're here with our legend.
fucking legend for sure.
So like,
Absolutely.
getting him to be in a vulnerable place, talking about those relationships we talk about, like our girls are tripping, our baby moms are dealing with our kids and stuff, and like his health concerns, and bringing those up in the records and being vulnerable, and then like these introspective like paths to go on to like, okay, we're down, but then we also coming back up, and then like having like music really like watch his process, and him just be like, no, that's good, stay there. I'm like, okay, so I am going the right way,
right.
Instead of being like, no, that's no. He's like, no, this is fine. But now he's just going to fluff and add color and all these things to it. So like, I'm blessed with like the cast of people that I got to work with. Flatbush Zombies,
Fat shots
like
to them.
man, Meech, like being on a record we have coming out soon.
They got some great wrestling bars too. Those guys,
Incredible.
Yeah.
And Meech is just like so far out, and he guided me from like our first project when we did Body Art. You know, he was one of our first features ever that we ever had on a record together.
Yes, sir.
So like Connor, shout out him,
Shout out Flint.
shout out Flint, Michigan, shout out Bun B for taking Big Pressure and taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
That crazy Houston cosign.
Yep.
You know, Fireman, Prophet, Anthony King, like all these guys played a part in like truly like molding me to be something in the industry. I wouldn't say I made it in the industry, but like I have a place in it now, and I'm still finding my footing. But now I feel like I can just go into a studio of like, hey, we got a beat on. Let's
you can do your thing. Yeah,
I can like.
And the thing is, lastly, the thing I wanted to instill with him is like, look, man, it's just confidence is like 80%
for sure.
It's like once you go in the studio, like that's why I kind of threw him in the gauntlet. I said, here's John Connor. Here's Mickey Fax. And so once you know that you can go with these guys and hold your own, and they're like not turning the song
I think
off.
Mickey Fax literally might teach a rap course.
He does.
Yeah,
He
I'm about
does.
to say like he's like one of them ones for real.
With Lupe, like that, and then like getting the advice back from him.
Right.
I'm like, okay,
Absolutely.
I didn't do good enough. That's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Once I heard the records and I heard the responses to those records, I was like, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I'll say about like just not just music but everything, like any type of like craft, and nowadays people are really afraid to hear they did bad in something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are scared of that and they run from it, so they don't even try, or they fail, or they're not good at it, and they hear everybody tell them they're not good at something and say they just stop.
Right.
Like people ask me for advice in wrestling or whatever at conventions or when I'm signing, meeting people. They're like, "What's the biggest advice?" I'm like, "Don't stop. You can slow down, you can go fast, but you don't stop. You never stop, because like Terry Taylor, once again going back to him, and then performance center classes, he's like, you know what's going to happen if you quit. That's a 0% chance that you get a 0, but you don't know what will happen if you keep going.
Right.
You might get a 2, you might get a 90, you might get a 50, but you know what you'll get if you stop. If you quit, it's a guaranteed 0. So like ever since in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm a little slow right now. Things are dragging a little bit. I'm in a rut, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to figure it out and sometimes I let the universe come back to me. And I was like, because I've exhausted everything I can to it. I've given out everything. I've made the emails. I made the calls. I've been over to I drove, did the drives. I've been over here. I've crafted this. I set this up. Everything's signed. Everything's here. I've done everything I can. Like, you know what? I'm going to sit back and I'm going to play my game for like 6 hours. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm not going to answer my phone. I'm not going to make any posts. I'm not going to tweet something out of just brain dead necessity. I'm not going to add anything more because I've exhausted everything I can.
Yep.
So I'm just going to sit. And then maybe 2 weeks from now, that email out of nowhere comes in. Or we're going to here. We like, hey, we got a show. Want to come through? Like, boom. That dude, boom, he shows up there. Like, oh, snap. That's what we was trying to get to.
Right.
They just start coming to you naturally. So that's what music's been doing for us majorly over the past couple of years. It's like West Side,
for sure.
Okay, yeah.
He's got his promotion too. That's dope.
Shout out Fourth Rope, man.
Yeah, Zilla's got the belt right now.
Shout out Zilla, bro. He's next up too.
He's got to be.
He's next up.
I'm surprised Tony hasn't, because I think
he's been that show.
You know the inevitable. The inevitable is he's gonna pop out. If they need a new bloodline guy,
he'll be wearing a black hoodie in no time.
Not if Tony comes in first.
But like he's been to shows and like I was always love. It's like one thing I love about AEW locker room is never like, oh, you're coming over here. Right. You got it's like, oh, it was good.
For sure.
Like that's the same thing with Steph Vicure. Like, oh, come on, have this match, show out.
Yeah.
You get a deal, you get a deal. Who cares?
One quick point I want to make, Kev, I want to say this too publicly, is that I'm proud of him and what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's, I told him, I said, hey man, I want you to take this torch the right way and not only hold the caveat, but also too, like, just support him as a brother too, because sometimes when you're too directly involved in it or too involved in it, like me as somebody to say, quotation, you found Swerve, and people say that, but the thing about it is like sometimes you could be too invested in it and it could stunt somebody's growth,
right?
Because your emotions could be too much entangled into it. So the first thing that I said without all of this, even in wrestling or when he started incorporating music with wrestling, I said, bro, make sure you establish your own identity. I want to make sure that when it comes to anything that you're doing, that it doesn't always have to have Monteese's name attached to it.
Right.
You got to make your own. You got to do your own. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, why wasn't Teasy here or there? He's fine. He's doing his thing. He has to build his own legacy. We have our legacy together. You know what I mean? With everything that we've done over these 8 years. Right. But it's also good for him to branch out, to be his own man, to take these leaps and bounds that he's taking in. So when I see what's going on in hip hop and wrestling and what he's doing, I'm super proud of him, and he's taking it and handling it the right way, because not everybody can do it without it being corny or looking a certain way.
That's the thing is how are you able to walk the line without it being corny?
Right, and he doesn't do that.
Like so you've done such a good job of all the shit you do, because you could be the corny rapper wrestler guy and it's just over the top and it doesn't. I just feel like you've done such a good job.
Brother, there's a list of that.
There's a list.
I just like, it's kind of like I'm just being myself. I'm not being what Swerve Strickland is. I'm being who Stefan is.
Right.
And I always go back to that core. I never try to lose myself in either one of these identities. I find the core first and what feels right. And and sometimes you get lost in like, you need this type of record, you need a club record, you need this type of record, you need this. I'm like, yeah, but it has to feel what I would say. For me, who would I be in these situations?
Yeah, like in real life,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't talk about like getting shot, and I've never been shot. I know I don't talk about like,
no, you shouldn't. Yeah.
Like because that's not who I am, and that's also where he helped guide me. Just like, no, you don't have to just say that.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
That's what I mean, I feel like that's. I mean, obviously, we know a lot of artists of pop not being themselves, but I feel like now more than ever, the more like the internet makes everything so transparent that the art, like fans know.
Yeah. What's your like view on that? It's like what you want to hear or hear.
I want to hear people be themselves. Like if I that's kind of the thing with Drake that I never really Drake's talented. He makes great music, obviously. He's Drake, but I never was like a Drake head. Because I felt like when he first came out, I felt like he was being himself. When he was doing this, So Far Gone, to me was like Drake being himself.
Yeah.
I felt like there just became this thing where he became like a tough guy kind of. And I'm like, well, this ain't why I fuck with you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I liked Kanye. Kanye was someone working at the Gap and fucking and was wearing polo and shit. And like, no one else is doing this.
Yep.
So I like to feel like, if I'm listening to you, even if I'm listening to some like clips or Pusha T or some shit, like, and I know Pusha T hasn't sold cocaine for some time, but like I know he did, so it makes the music great. Like, I love Push, like, but yeah, I think as an artist, like, you always should just be yourself, because then you can't, nobody can call you out. If you're in hip hop and you're just doing you, nobody can like at the end of the day.
I think like when you put the mask on and you wear it for so long, it dies out quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's why you see the 3-year runs, the 4-year runs, the 2-year runs.
Like I think there was that 2016, 17, 18 like SoundCloud run where a lot of artists cracked off of antics and like social media bullshit. And
that was a scary time.
Super scary.
That was actually really scary.
And it was just a lot of bullshit music. And people were getting signed just based off of their Instagram followings. Like, dude, that Supreme Patty kid got a record deal.
I don't even know who that is.
That's the kid who used to wear the Supreme headband. He used to squirt lemons in his eyes.
Not a clue.
He got a record deal. It's insane.
How long does it last?
No, he didn't. I don't think he put. I think he maybe put out 2 songs and they were like straight to world star. But that's like, that's the era of music that birthed like fucking 6ix9ine and all that bullshit.
Yeah, the Smoke Perps and
that and it's like the Smoke Perp shit was like, nice guy, but like, and Little Pump. It's like, what happened to Little Pump? He had a 2-year run where he was hot as fish grease, and then now he's doing OnlyFans.
1985, I've arrived.
Yes, J. Cole called the whole era.
He saw it.
For
he did.
sure.
He did. And you see like when a lot of artists get bigger to the point, if they don't keep that sense of grounded around them or within them, they start to lose touch with reality. That's why a lot of people go back to a lot of guys' first albums, because that was their most authentic.
Right.
Now they're in album number 7, 8, 10 year in their career, and you start, I'm kind of...
Yeah,
I'm 32 now.
I think that's what's great about, like, I think Cole's done a good job of like Cole's just such a normal guy who just happens to rap. So it's like, no matter what, if you're listening to Cole, he's never given you anything that isn't like his true self, To
me, that's why I always related to like a Tyler Creator. For me personally, I always felt like our career paths are very like parallel.
Yeah.
Because like when I came on the scene, I was like 19. He came on 19,
he was a kid,
and he was just like radical, saying a lot of wild shit into a audience that doesn't necessarily like lend itself to hip hop and our culture very well. It's skater, like mosh pit, like a lot of like gratuitous stuff. And for me, I was just finding myself. It was like,
he was rapping about some wild shit.
Yeah. But he also had a lot of competition. Like Big Sean was hot at the time.
ASAP Rocky.
Like that whole like Drake came on.
Blog era.
Like Kendrick started coming up. So all these, like also like that's when Double XL started like really putting out the freshmen. So all those
he never was a freshman.
He was never even played on BET for like 10 years.
For sure.
So he was always not accepted, and that's how I felt in wrestling for like a long time. I wasn't accepted as like one of the best black wrestlers or that like audience and stuff. I kind of like just stayed true to myself and started just growing. I'd rather start down at the beginning and then just do nothing but this, and that's what Tyler did.
Right.
I feel like he really didn't start taking off until I would say Flower Boy. But
Flower Boy was the first album I think that like.
It was like,
I think he got a lot of. I think he always had a huge fan base, and he always had.
I'm a Wolf fan. I loved it since Wolf and Goblin and Bastard. I love those projects.
But I think you're right. Flower Boy was the first album I feel like were like people who were like, because I knew a lot of people in the industry who were just turned off by Tyler, and I'm like, this fool's brilliant.
I was like, dude, this y'all. I said the same thing.
But I feel like Flower Boy was, and then Igor was such a critically acclaimed moment.
Yeah, that's where
it just became pop culture.
Yeah,
as opposed to sub pop culture.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where I was around like my Flower Boy era was Lucha Underground, and it was like. That was the Hella War match, but like even people talk about that match with me and Fox. It was the match with me and Marty the Moth, the Weapons of Mass Destruction match that really popped for
crazy,
me. And that put me on the map because it was like 2 guys that were just like, oh, they're cool characters on the show, but they're not anybody.
Right.
And then just like boom, it's like whoa,
just cracked it.
We didn't know that we didn't know. Now we want to see more from these guys. And then Marty ended up going to like season 4, winning the world championship, the top title on the show, and I went to the trios and stuff. But people wanted to see more from that. And then NXT, well, actually, I would say Evolve and stuff. I started beating Riddle. I started beating started winning all these titles. Davey Richards. I started winning all these. Like these big indie world championships, and I started getting in the ring with Kenny and the Bucks,
right? And
overseas, and I started like really wrestling the best in the world,
right?
And then NXT came, and then that's kind of my Igor moment. And then once I came to AEW, that was my call me if you get lost moment,
right? For sure.
Now right where I'm at. I'm at Chromacopia stage.
Right.
And that's why I felt like I had to wear Chromacopia when I came out at Full Gear.
That's dope.
Because that album came out like maybe 2
great
weeks
album
beforehand.
too. Fuck.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Such a great album.
That album came out 2 weeks beforehand. And I was like, what am I going to wear? What's my coming out stage at this point in my career? And then he came out with that album, dropped the the Saint Chroma like teaser trailer, I was like, that's it. That's where I'm at. So I credit Tyler, his album and like story journey. I feel like we're very parallel with one another in that sense.
I'd like to see him at a wrestling show.
Wrestling is catered to everything he is.
For sure. I don't think he's into it at all, by the way.
Probably not.
I think he would have to go and be like, oh, I've been missing out on this the whole time.
No, you got to do it at a time like, what the fuck is this?
Like,
why didn't I ever go to a show? Oh my God, this is like so
I could
gangster,
just see him
bro.
like tripping on the like front row, just like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I called him out on a couple interviews and then like tagged him on a bunch of like when I wore the Chromacopia gear for the entrance.
Like, I feel like Drake had that moment, you know, where Drake was like, what have I been missing?
Yeah.
Also kind of interesting they didn't show him on TV.
I think he didn't want to.
Or XO is pretty tied in with the other company, and it was in Toronto, and The Weeknd has had the song for like 5 years straight.
Political movements here,
and Travis and him aren't necessarily.
They're not the best. Who is right now with him?
I
Besides
think him and
Party?
21 Savage are buddies with him. You know, I think
I was
21
with
Savage
21.
21 Savage and Drake are still
and June.
solid. And listen, Drake kind of got deserted. You know, God bless him.
I don't know if you saw like this thing online, the YouTube thing. There's a million thought pieces on it.
Oh my God, there's so much.
There's so many thought pieses. I'm like the tree and the diagram.
It's wild.
There's one that's like it's like a 3-hour joint and it's so good and it's like the culture used him just as much as he used the culture.
For sure, because then when it was like, okay,
I was
they were
yep. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't want to talk too much about it.
I'm just happy that Euphoria was performed at the Super Bowl because that's my favorite song in the whole beef.
I don't think that one fit though.
I didn't give. I was just.
You just like we got it.
Euphoria. What? Let's go. Hey, want to give a shout out to Hardin, man. Listen, if you're in Vegas, the #1 dispensary in the world, the craziest selection of premium cannabis that you'll ever find anywhere, and the best part about Hardin that I love, man. First of all, if you're going to go over there, mention my name, follow him, Hardin_Las Vegas. But what I love about Hardin is you go in there and you know you're never going to go to another place that's more educated on the weed that they're selling you, right? So maybe you are going in there and you're dealing with anxiety, or maybe you're going in there, you're dealing with inflammation. Maybe you're going in there, you just want to get a little trippy. I don't know. They're going to break down the terpenes for you and tell you which one is best for what you're looking for. It's crazy. Best bud tenders, best place in Vegas, best place in the United States. If you hit Vegas and you hit that taxi at that airport, take me to Hardin. Follow him, Hardin_Las Vegas. Check him out, HardinLasVegas.com. Shout out to the Hardin family. Hey, what up? Bootleg Kev here. Hey, want to give a shout out to our good folks at Blue Chew. Yes, shout out to Blue Chew, man. Look, guys, summer's coming. It's not coming, but it's like, I'm not going to lie. We're getting into March, so it's like springtime. Weather's getting a little hotter. And should your bedroom situation. Listen, fellas, a lot of people always hit me about Blue Chew. They want to know, does Blue Chew work? Of course it does. You want to find out? Yeah? It's all good. Go to BlueChew.com right now. They're going to send you a month's supply for free. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. It's going to your house in a discreet package. Now, what is Blue Chew? How does it work? First of all, your dick is going to work like it has never worked before. It's going to be as hard as this fucking table. If you got a girlfriend, if you got a first date, if you got a little side piece, you got a wife, they're going to thank you off that Blue Chew. All right? But listen, it is the same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, but it's packed into a chewable blue form. The best part about all of this, because, you know, sometimes going to the doctor and talking about erectile dysfunction, a lot of men are dealing with erectile dysfunction these days. Quite honestly, we're all desensitized from all that gooning we've been doing on the internet, all that porn, you know? With that being said, you don't have to worry about going and sitting with a doctor face-to-face, going to a weird doctor's appointment. All that shit sucks. It's all online. It's all handleable right on BlueChew.com. Very discreet, and it's sent right to your doorstep. Trust me when I say you got to give that Blue Chew a shot, fellas. Anybody with a dick, you got to give that Blue Chew a shot. I'm just telling you. Anyway, let's get back to the interview. when you do something like the gritty with the shovel, is that something you know you're hitting, or is that like on the fly?
You'll be surprised how much I make up in the ring on the fly, and I'll just do it. I will change the trajectory of what like was supposed to happen,
Right.
and I'll just like, let me just cut here. Let me go like it's literally like GPSing on a car ride. We know we got to go to Florida. We'll get there.
Let's stop off.
Let's stop here at the Target.
Yeah.
Let's go over here. I want some shoes.
Right.
You want some beef jerky? You want some Wendy's? Like, let's stop in. I will eventually get us back on 95 and go down.
And that's how I knew he could do music, because if he could freestyle like that,
I can't. By the way,
he can come up with concepts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In music, I knew it. You know what I mean? Was if you can do that, and like everything you say you might do, you just kind of do a 360 for like 5 minutes and then get back to where you go. That's a talent, man. And make it entertaining.
For sure.
In like physical combat, that's different, man.
That's also how you find yourself, playing around. That's what we used to do as kids.
For sure.
You played around with your friends and your brother, you slammed them, you just went in the backyard, and you didn't come up with a plan. You just went around and climbed a tree, jumped in a sandbox, buried this, found it 2 weeks later, did this. You came up with sticks. We're going to sword fight now. Now we're going to hide and seek. Now we're going to play hide and seek, like freeze tag. Then we're going to do this.
Right.
You just played. And that's where you find out who you were. You found out who that one friend is that cheats. You found out that one friend that always does this. He's always too rough. You found out your personalities as kids. And that's what you end up becoming, and that's what kind of like either that's the glue or that's what separated everybody. You knew who was going to stick around for a little while, but you also knew who was like, okay, they're over there. That's what we do in wrestling. You know who's like, okay, these guys are going to stick together. That's where you make the clicks. That's where you make DX. That's where you make New Day.
Right.
You found the guys that played around and like, oh yeah, that's cool. But that's also where you find out who's like also the op. That's where you find the Seth Rollins and the Shield. Yeah. That's also where you find like Jericho with the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Inner Circle, who's going to split off and go these ways and stuff like that.
Have you done his cruise, by the way?
Twice.
How is that?
Oh, good time.
Money.
Good time. He was with me. We performed.
Money.
Are there women who book? I just think about like a boat full of wrestling fans.
Which it is.
It is.
So it's like cool, but it's like, is it cool? You know what I'm saying? Like, are there any bitches on the boat? You know what I'm saying? Like that. Are there like wrestling women?
The ratio is small.
It's got to be crazy.
But they are.
But I'm saying, and to me, it's like any women that are there, I would assume are there with their guys.
Some.
You would think.
Some are there for purposes.
Right.
And let's say, I'll say this, that if there are women of acquired taste that you would like, they're
I mean, I'm married. I don't like women. I just like one.
They are
just curious.
They're being occupied. Somebody already spotted them.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
But it looks like it'd be fucking fun, like to take a kid on or something. You know?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Which are kids.
It's some family shit. Yeah, for sure.
There's family shit. There's adult shit, like different floors for it. There's like 15 floors.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's endless entertainment. There's always something to do. You can't you should not be in your room unless you're sleeping. That's it.
They say that you are one of the wrestlers that will bring the best out of anybody you work with. Is that something you're proud of?
Yes. That's something I've been doing for over 10 years. And I feel like that, like a lot of people, like Will Ospreay, his gift is the 5-star match. He's the 5-star match machine. Kenny is the best bout machine.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's my gift in this generation, this era. But a lot of those guys, that's kind of what separated me from them. Like, they're all great in their own senses, which is amazing. And that's always super hard to find what makes you great in this era, because everybody's talented. For sure. Everybody can go.
Yep.
You know, like MJF is the microphone. You know, that's his gift. Like Hangman is the just the defiant babyface and the best storyteller. That's his gift. You know, my gift is to find what's inside of you and truly like grasp onto that. And I'm like, I know exactly what to do with this, and I know exactly where to place it, and I know when it's time to use it that you didn't even know. Mm-hmm. And then I bring it out, and then I use it till eventually I stop using it, and now you're using it. I'm not even doing anything anymore. You're just you found who you are, and now you're just gravitating. Like Hangman's now, we haven't touched since September.
Right.
Now he's just gone. He's just doing his thing, and now it's transitioning and transferring over to other talents throughout these next couple months. I feel like that's my gift, and that's why Tony found the value in me. Because like I don't just do for myself. I do for everything. I need this. Like I said when I said earlier,
you're like damn near the Undertaker of the company.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Like whoever they put you in with, it's like it's gonna go.
And it's also whoever you put me with. It doesn't have to have title implications. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It has to be about who
like
am
the
I.
Ricochet shit. Like it's like going crazy.
It's who am I and who are you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get with me unless you know who you are.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of that.
And you're truly not one of them ones in wrestling, unless you could be the guy without having to have the belt.
Right. Yeah.
You don't need the belt.
100%. I mean, you think about like Punk. Like right now, it's like Punk's still Punk. Like doesn't matter if he's got the belt or not.
I always felt like Taker was like always that guy.
Oh no,
because Taker was like
it never was about whether he had the belt at Mania. It was like, yo, it's WrestleMania.
Who's facing him?
Who's facing him?
Who gets the opportunity to face him?
Exactly.
It was like its own title, like its own opportunity. We'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, could Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, I felt like that's where I found what my value was, because now you can like for the next 5 years, however long I'm signed here with AEW. It's like, man, there's so much more that like there's so much other roster members that could like we haven't really seen be brought out. I could probably be the one to do that, but it's also you got to work to get to me. You got to work to get to that point, and I need to. And that's why I'm very shelled away in certain ways on the roster, because when you're with Swerve, there's that it means something
for sure.
You know what I mean? And I want that.
And it's going to be a thing. It's not going to be like, You and Ricochet obviously are going at it Sunday. You guys have similar, I would say, kind of trajectories with the old company in terms of probably, fans might say like he was underutilized. You were obviously underutilized. I
didn't even get a chance.
I would say at least he had a chance, right?
Yeah.
At least he was
like
he had the I forget what the belt was called.
Intercontinental, the United States. He had a multiple.
What was the
times.
purple belt that he had?
He never had the cruiserweight title.
I thought he had the cruiserweight one, but
he had the speed title.
The speed title is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But how cool has it been to just work with him? Because he is a sick ass talent. Like, he's got a fucking deep bag. And
I don't think people really understand how important he was to wrestling in our generation. Like the how serious and how big of an impact he had in 2010 and 2011 over in Dragon Gate in Japan. Him and Pac were changing the business because we thought the athleticism couldn't reach a certain height anymore after we seen Rey Mysterio do what he did in WCW to early 2000s. Then we didn't think there was anywhere you can go higher than Matt Sydal shooting star press, even though we were seeing Billy Kidman do it, and certain guys like that. But the athleticism, just like with Ring of Honor and Dragon Gate and stuff like that, when they were doing those collabs together, you go over into Japan, you're seeing like this 23-year-old kid do a double moonsault off the top rope. And before that, on the indies, he was doing it on like little IWA Mid-South shows in the middle of like Louisville, Kentucky, off a ladder to the outside of people. Double moonsault. And then like he goes to Pac and everything. They changed wrestling 630s. They're just popping off springboards like Dragon Kid and Yoshino and Masato. It was just so much. It was like I never seen anything like that. And he just went like globally viral. And then taking that to the US with PWG and doing all the stuff that he was doing, then bringing the Osprey comes in from the UK. They merge and then they do what they did in 2017 with the Best of Super Juniors when they do the infamous, international, super international, super junior spot. It was just like, man, like that's how big he was, and he still is to this day. But now it's like through all those times, if you're a fan watching and following his career since then, you never understood who he was and what he was about. You never understood the identity about that.
That's facts.
Yeah.
You would just be like, he's a great wrestler, but why do I care?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you just seen the clip. I was like, who was that?
Right.
You walk
like, yo, that's the guy who hit the crazy spot with Logan Paul.
And I always wanted to like, okay, I got to take away that's the guy. I want you to be like, that's Ricochet doing that. That's how you become a name.
I almost feel like that is more important in the business is if you can make people care about you the wrestling could just be okay as long as people give a fuck. Because that's really.
But this is AEW. We still have to perform.
No, yeah,
we
you
still
guys.
have to kill
I would say AEW is like Kendrick Lamar and WWE is like Drake. Like you know,
I've always said that.
You have to rap.
In terms
We're
of
TDE.
the wrestling,
We're TDE.
I've always said that.
You can't just
Adrian from Unlikely made that great reference. I was like, on the wrestling front for sure.
Yeah, we're TDE, and like it's almost like you get the big box office movies and all that stuff over there, but over there you don't get green screen, you don't get wires. Can you freaking act?
Right.
And that's what AEW is. You have to act in order to perform in our films. We're A24. The performances and the acting has to be pristine.
AEW is like The Wire, and WWE is like fucking, Chicago Fire.
I wouldn't even know.
Or Law and Order.
But you can enjoy both.
I see that. I see what you're saying.
You can enjoy. You can enjoy both.
You can enjoy both
for sure.
And both are successful.
100%.
That's the beauty of it. It's just like, and so Ricochet's probably, in my opinion, going to find more success with AEW because his talents are going to be utilized and he's going to be heard. He's going to be heard. I feel like once you find your voice and you are heard, we know how to tap into an emotion and people know how to feel about what you're saying. Now, every time he comes out, instant boo. We know, that's Ricochet. God damn it. Yeah. He's coming out. Oh, somebody come out and beat this Ricochet's. So now we know his name. Mm-hmm. Now you can do all the athleticism if you want to, if you choose to, but you have it and everybody knows, actually, he doesn't suck. We hate him, but he doesn't suck.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's Kurt Angle effect. We hate him, but we know he can beat your ass.
I feel like that happened with Jacob recently where you're just like, oh, we're supposed to hate this guy, but Jesus Christ.
He's so good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
Jacob is money, bro.
He's so good.
He is money,
he's so good.
bro.
He's always been good.
He's so massive, but he's just flying. It's just
He's
crazy.
so good. He's so good. And he has great body control.
Somebody like Penta, who you've worked with, right?
Yeah.
How cool has it been? Obviously, he's always been that dude.
He's always been that.
But it's been like he's obviously on a bigger platform now, and I feel like they're like, how cool, just as somebody who's worked with him in 2 different companies. Did you work with him at Lucha Underground?
Yes. He was my first match, actually. It was a trios.
He very well could be, I think obviously there's like a conscious effort to kind of like him be the next Mysterio.
I hope so. You can't say that.
But how cool?
You can't say he's going to be the next Mysterio because there will never be another.
And
there will never be and
that's
the difference right there. It's a product, and so they're trying to copy another product.
Right.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't make another Cena. You can't make another Dwayne. You can't make another Rey Mysterio. Those are guys.
They sure did try to make another Goldberg. Shout out to Ryback.
You can't do it. You can't do it. And we've seen it many times. You cannot make another what that is.
But how cool has it just been to see him get this like this?
I'm happy for him and I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
I want to see where it goes. I want to see Penta have Penta's lane.
Yeah.
And that's where the marketing is on Penta being Penta in this, and also shedding back and seeing like who Penta is, what Penta is, what's the motive, what is the meaning, what does he want to do, what is his, and how is he going to do it. That's what separates all these characters from being characters. Steve Austin wanted the world championship. Well, so does he. So does like this guy.
Everybody
wants. Like Mick Foley wants it. But how are they going to do it compared to Austin doing it? Austin is going to drive a truck, beer. Like he some of the guys in that era weren't going to hit Vince. That's just not who their character is. Austin has no problem stunning Vince or women or grandmas, but Bubba Ray will put somebody through a grown woman, a woman through a table, but there's certain characters that wouldn't, like, you know what I mean? That's what separates them. Jeff Hardy's not going to do that.
Right.
Because that's what makes Jeff Hardy Jeff Hardy. That's the motive. Why, guys, who's going to push the boundaries? That's what made me. Like, I will go in your house. Now, and I made Hangman because he will burn it down.
For sure.
There's other characters that won't go that far.
I know you working with Adam Copeland's a big deal for you. Obviously, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
There's a good chance you guys end up having a thing.
This weekend decides
It decides a lot, right?
And that's the point of these. There's 2 matches one depends on another.
Correct.
And the other depends on the other.
Correct.
That's the stakes.
But just the potential or the
Yeah.
of just putting your brain in the situation where you guys have a thing going, like,
Yeah.
it's got to be pretty cool to think about.
It's wild. Like 9-year-old me is like, you're up in that ranks of like possibly challenging guys that you looked up to. The reason I wear long jackets is because of Copeland and stuff. And it's like, man, you could face him for the world championship like in the next month. Mm-hmm. The implications are there now. It's like, it's not far-fetched anymore. Mm-hmm. Just like it was that same feeling I had when I wrestled Rey Mysterio in the 6-man. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me take a step back. I'm actually like taking the 619. I'm actually like basing a Rana from the greatest to ever do this. And
it's almost like you're in it, so you don't. I always tell people this, like, whatever level of success you reach, sometimes you got to stop and like be like, oh shit.
I always made this metaphor, like I've been chopping trees for 15, 16 years. Right. And like when I first started, it was like, there's a forest. There's no way I can get through any of this.
Right.
Until you start chopping.
Yep.
And now I'm like, wow. I look back, I'm like, there's miles of trees that I chopped and of like forest that I've gotten through. And sometimes I need to stop and just like
and like
reflect. Let me just
live in it.
Let me enjoy. Yeah. Like I might be done chopping trees. I might be like a fourth of it left.
Yep.
There might be more. I don't know. But I'm going to like. There's times I got to sit back and like realize I'm like, yo, I've more than halfway. I've like 3/4 of it probably at this point. Of doing what I've set out to do when I was a kid, you know.
Montezi, you got a new song out with Lil Russell?
Yes, sir. Stomp out, man. Merch right here. Make sure you guys get
How did
that.
you guys connect?
Man, so I reached out to him. Shout out to his whole team, Miss Mitchell. Shout out to the whole squad from Good Penny, man.
Great guys.
Reached out to them, and they're such good, humble people. I sent him the record, and I didn't hear anything back for a few months. You know how the game go.
Of course.
Send the record. Hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
He sent it right. He sent it back like 2 months later. I just get a random email, like you said, about sitting back and just put it in the universe. I forgot about it. I didn't think about it. I just sounded as far on his email. Oh, let me send it to him. I sent it. You know, he does his offer-based thing. Hit him up, and I didn't hear anything. Randomly, it just said Stomp Out verse. Russell hit me back. She said, "Hey, you guys." He said, "Yeah, he loved the record. Here you go." And honestly, it was funny because when you hear the record, it was just his verse. I didn't have anything to it. I just sent him the beat. And it wasn't like, hey, just rap right here. I got the whole structure of the record.
Usually you would send somebody like an open verse.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I didn't do the open verse.
You just sent him a beat.
I just sent him a beat and let him do it, and then I worked around him.
Oh, that's dope.
So, you know, the record has been doing phenomenal. Shout out to him, man, for the opportunity. It's been making good waves out here, man. And I'm proud to have him, man, because he's the hottest independent rapper out, killing it right now. You know what I mean? I'm one of them. So it's dope to see that with his movement. Such a good dude, and I watch all his content, and such a good guy, and couldn't be happier for him, and I couldn't be happier to have the record. So it's dope.
You coming up in Tampa, were you like influenced by any of the joke shit, like the Tom G's?
Yeah, Tom G. Oh man, Tampa Tony. Shout out to
Strizzo.
Strizzo's my mentor. That's our mentor.
Yeah,
He's my mentor, and then I linked him with Strizzo. Okay. So
he was the first one to book us to perform.
Absolutely,
so them fools got like. I don't think people understand like when you like Tampa has like its own genre of hip hop that people don't. People don't get it until they hear it.
Strizzo taught me the whole business side of the industry.
Dope.
He taught me.
Shout out to Chris Stahl too.
Shout out to Chris Stahl, Strizzo. Shout out to Tom G. Shout out to Rated R, all of them, man. Shout out to all them guys. Yeah, it was funny because when I moved down to Florida, it taught me. I'm from New York,
okay,
but I moved to Florida. So when I moved to Florida, I had a whole branch of a whole other side of music, which motivated me and helped me in different ways. It gave me a listen to music in a different way outside of just what I was raised up on. So
yeah, when you go to the club, well, I mean the club's a little different there now, but. 10 years ago, you go to a Tampa club. I remember when I first moved to Tampa, and I remember like half of the songs I'd never heard in my fucking life, and I'm a club DJ. I'd be like, what the fuck is this shit?
But everybody in the crowd knew that shit.
Like,
everybody knew it. Everybody knew it.
Crazy.
Crazy, bro. I'd be like, yo, the world is really bigger than what we think it is, because there's times like when I go to Sky or Piranha, all them clubs, and they be playing these songs and the whole crowd knows it. And you might not know it, but everybody, it's bubbling in that radius.
Yep.
And I realize, I see, all you need is one. And even if it's regional, it can definitely, you get people moving, you got something.
100%, man. And then you're doing something with, you're bringing out Rashad Evans and
yes, sir.
Rampage, right?
Yes, sir. April 12th, they're doing a boxing fight. Just got announced in New Mexico. Shout out to those guys. They just had the press conference. Tickets go on sale Monday. The great thing about it is Rashad hit me up. That's one of my best friends, one of my inspirations that I've met, and he's become one of my best friends now. So he's like, yo, I want you to make something for me. So, he's been helping me training, get my physical back right. And he's like, I just want you to do this song for me. So I just produced something for him and made something for him. And I said, yo, can I come out? He's like, why don't you just walk me to the ring? Just walk me to the ring when I'm about to go fight Rampage. I said, say less. So I produced a song. I produced a song for him. And I'll be walking him to the ring during this fight versus Rampage. They have a boxing fight. The press conference is hilarious. Rampage Jackson's hilarious. Funny
great
dude.
Personality.
Great personality. And, Rashad isn't the same boisterous guy. He's more chill now, more reserved. But it's funny because that evens out in the promotion. So it's funny watching their dynamic. But I'm excited to go out there to be able to do it. And, man, I can't wait. Honestly, the biggest placement of my career. Theme song-wise. Biggest placement. Live on pay-per-view.
It's like writing a theme song, like... How do you pull for are you because it's obviously that could change. I mean, there's so many theme songs that we could think of where it's like,
right.
That's why it's important for wrestlers to have the personality.
For sure.
Absolutely.
To pull those things.
And the thing is, I've been doing it 11 years now. I've been making theme songs for 11 years. So I was around, I started in 2014 making theme songs. So I was around in the inception before everybody was doing it. So I started to see, I had a formula years ago before it became very popular, So now I have a format, a popular way that many people do it. I kind of go the other way.
Right.
I always believe that you have to make the song something that universally anybody hear. If I gave you a record, a wrestling record, and I gave, hey, Kev, play this in the club. A wrestling record? I don't know if this is going to work.
Buddy, when I lived in Tampa and I'd be doing, what the fuck was the club in fucking, on South Howard, Drink.
Yeah.
I used to DJ Wednesdays at Drink. I remember one time Seamus walked in and this is a Black Hood club. And
he was glowing.
Fucking faded out, played his fucking theme song, got on the mic. I was like, Seamus is in there. It was like Seamus, Fandango, Billy Kidman.
Johnny.
And who else was there?
I saw Johnny at Penthouse.
He's back, right? Oh, Penthouse, great place.
Yeah, he's back. I think he's in WWE now.
Hey, Penthouse is kind of the spot out there now.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but now it is.
Yeah, it is.
Popping.
I've heard.
Yeah.
And it used to be across the street. Was it Dollhouse?
Dollhouse, yeah.
And shout out to the Spaceship 2001
Odyssey.
Yes. Shout out, man.
They used to have the hibachi truck in the parking lot.
Right.
2001. They used to crack. Oh.
The last point I wanted to make was if I sended you a record and I said, hey, Kev, play this record, and you'd be like, a wrestling record, but you don't want to make it sound like a wrestling record. You want to make it sound something that is universal. Even if it's something for a wrestler, you want to make something that's universal. I'm not going to say nothing about body slamming and suplexing somebody. I'm not going to do that.
I think the key is to a good wrestling theme song is figuring out the part where the crowd either sings it to the top of their lungs or reacts in a way.
Yep.
I think of Cody's song or just all the great songs. You want to evoke emotion. I'm also a weirdo. I'm driving around listening to fucking theme songs like their fucking albums sometimes. If I'm I'll be like, let me throw on fucking old school Triple H or
bro.
Time to play the game.
I always said, bro, Kev always said this. I've been making wrestling rap theme songs 11 years of my life, and I've tried. I will never make a song better than Under the Real Wolfpack. I'll never make a theme song better than that. And I've tried. I have tried. But that Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, it don't turn you back on the Wolfpack.
Who is the name of the old school guy who was making all those songs? He hasn't. I forget his name.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Jim Johnson.
Jim Johnson.
Greatest
Fucking
ear.
legend,
Greatest
dude.
ear, because he could do anything.
God.
Any genre, anything.
The Jericho Break the Walls Down is one of the greatest.
Come on, bro.
I was like, this is cold. I want to hear this anywhere, everywhere.
For sure.
At any moment. That thing is cold.
For sure. There is like a subgenre of like wrestling rap, kind of. Shout out to our boy Mega Ran. Mega Ran's.
Shout out to Mega Man, absolute legend. It's my guy. We go 10 years in. That's my brother.
We're both from Phoenix. Well, he's from Philly, but he came up in Phoenix.
I call him the Undertaker of what we do.
Yeah,
because he was there a little bit before me, before I got my shine. Mm-hmm. So he was like
he's been killing it, and then he's also got like the gamer rap too.
Yeah,
like,
he just did current New Day.
Yeah, he's fucking. Yeah, shout out to Yo, he has a crazy. Did he ever tell you the story about how he ended up playing the drums at WrestleMania?
He posted a video about it. Tell that story.
So funny. He explained it. It was like the biggest accident ever. Like, and then he ended up like being a part of the band. You know, which is wild.
That's how it goes
in LA. Yeah,
that's wrestling. You slip and fall into something.
Yeah, so you know somebody. Hey man, can you do this? Can you?
Yeah, you guys stand over there. Just fake play.
Who's that guy? What's that face? Yeah.
I can't tell you how many things I did with him. He's like, hey man, you want to manage me in this match? I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
and it wasn't called. He just asked me to do it. Like, you never know.
To me, that'd be the funnest gig. Is to be like Paul Heyman, or to be like just a manager where you can just get off and not get fucked up. Take a spot every now and then. Every once in a while you got to get
a little super kick.
Yeah,
once in a while.
Yeah. Anyway, well, look, I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. Sunday should be dope.
Unreal. Like the bar is high. For everybody. Everybody got to come correct. It's like Osprey's on there. Come correct. Kenny's on there. Takeshita's on there.
Loaded.
Come correct. Copeland's on there. Come correct.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Mercedes on there. Come correct. Tony's on there. Come correct. So and then me and Ricochet.
Do you feel like the HBO Max thing is gonna just change? Because I feel like for me as like a fan,
and like you can. I think this pay-per-view and Dynasty coming up, you can order on Amazon Prime now.
So which is much better than downloading an app that nobody has.
That's a game changer as well.
Yeah.
So everything is becoming more convenient. And
respect to Bleacher Report. I love Bleacher Report for like scores and news and shit. But I was like, wait, you can watch stuff on Bleacher Report?
Yeah. And Fight TV. Fight TV has been a big thing
Prime.
for us.
Shout out to Prime.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. So everything's more accessible. Boom. Watching in your car. Yep. Watching on a big long plane ride.
Yep.
It's that's where we are, and that's a testament to the growth of All Elite Wrestling, man. Shout out Tony Khan.
Shout out to
Tony, and everything that's been going on.
Everybody.
Shout out Kosha. Shout out Mansuri. All you guys in the back doing y'all thing.
You guys get free, just unlimited free Jaguars tickets if you want to go.
Yeah.
Let's go watch them.
Tony brought me on Monday Night Football, and I got to meet Roger Goodell on the field.
Fire.
Yep, introduced me, told him this guy stapled his face. It was incredible.
Yo, that's so sick.
Yeah, played my song, Big Pressure in the arena during the warm-ups.
Dope.
Got to meet the whole Monday Night Football, RG3. Got to meet Kurt Warner.
Oh, that's sick.
It was crazy.
That's fire.
Tony's been amazing.
Well, look, I appreciate you guys pulling up. You're down to do a freestyle too?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, so we'll do that as a separate piece of content, but shout out your Instagram so people can follow you and go follow the music and all.
Yes, sir. You guys hit me up at TZ Jones on everything X, Twitter, things of that nature. www.tzstable.com for everything merch, music, motivational content. MonteezyTV.com as well. You guys can hit that website as well for everything. If you guys want to book me for anything, holla at me there.
How often is the pod dropping?
For me, for Teasy's Table, we're dropping once a month right now.
Okay, what about for your guys' thing?
We've been on a hiatus right now. We're gonna pick back up probably in a little bit.
You got a lot going on.
It's getting
once my man got that belt, it's like focus on that, bro.
Crazy.
There's 89 pieces of content dropping there. We got to make them miss us a little bit. We'll be back though.
100%.
We'll be back.
There it is. Swerve, I appreciate you. Good luck, man. I hope we get. I really am hoping. I'm pulling for you versus Copeland. That's what I'm hoping.
It's a possibility.
The result of Sunday results in.
That's the thing. You got some results. You got some stakes. You got something that you can't predict. It can go any which way on two different matches. It's all implicating for the next couple shows and the next pay-per-view and where our championship's going to go for the rest of 2025. So check it out. All Elite Wrestling every Wednesday night, TBS, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We're doing some major things, and this is Swerve, the former AEW World Champion, first black AEW World Champion in the company's history.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Swerve Strickland, my guy. Appreciate you, brother. Boom.